both of you, I'm assuming both of you are homeowners. What's the craziest creature or animal that you've had in your house?
Inside the house?
Yeah. That you had to get rid of. You're the man of the house. You had to get rid of it.
Yeah, so we have these neighbors that leave out peanuts and bread and a bunch of shit for the squirrels. So like the crows and the birds will come and do that. But what they don't see at night is like, hey, when those squirrels don't get to those peanuts, the rats come out and they feast on that stuff. So come dusk, up until fairly recently, once dusk hits, you could see those rats coming out of our neighbors like back of their garage because we share a wall. Every now and then we get a rat inside of our house. So I'd go in there. We had to go in the crawl space, put a trap, kill it, and then just fence off all the little like ways to get in. Mm-hmm. So we'll occasionally get a rat or a mouse, but nothing crazy. Like we see possums all the time. Like our kids love possums now because they saw like 10 little baby possums in our backyard, and they've been obsessed with it. But
just and possums are normally pretty sweet. They're not like aggressive.
No, not at all. They'll hiss at you. They look disgusting, but they won't mess with you.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? Has there been anything in your where you live where you're like, this is terrifying, I need to get this thing out of here?
Well, no, I mean I'm in an apartment now. So I mean but I mean I've had a rat in my apartment in Boston before. Actually a mouse. It was more of like a mouse. I don't know, it wasn't like a huge like freaking New York sewer rat or anything. It looks like a cat. But I did have one that must have been, I don't know, maybe came back in one of my luggages from Italy or something, because this mouse or rat or whatever it was, basically. So I had in my pantry closet, right, my kitchen, all like snacks and nuts and that kind of stuff. But I had a couple of Ziploc bags of Italian cookies that were limoncello like flavored, pistachio limoncello flavored. And they were in a couple of Ziploc bags, keep them fresh, right? Because I had to put them in my luggage when I brought them back. And I had them in a bin in my closet, in those Ziploc bags. This mouse gets into my closet, doesn't go after anything else, nothing else. Chews through the bin, through the bags, and just eats the limoncello cookies and nothing else.
He had good taste, or she.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I thought I was going to come home one day and he's going to be like Ratatouille cooking me, sauce and meatballs on the stove or something.
Right.
Well, that's probably the weirdest. I mean, I think growing up, I had some weird things. Maybe, I don't know. I want to say an alligator. I think there's been like, lizards.
An alligator?
Yeah, like what's...
Maybe you had a baby alligator one time.
What state? You're talking about Florida?
Florida, yeah.
Oh, okay. In Florida, you had an alligator.
No, the mouse was in my apartment in Boston.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, the Boston alligators? What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So...
We have sight for sore eyes.
I don't know if you... I know you both are busy people, but I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to watch the end of the last episode. Did you?
I didn't.
No.
So this is good because I want to get your reaction. There's a reason I asked you that question, because all of our stuff got moved in here. So I don't know if this came from the LA warehouse where our stuff was sitting for a long time, or in our backyard. We have like the woods behind us. And so I don't know if it came from there or this LA warehouse, right? But we had basically moved everything into the house. And one of the last things, I had this canvas from IKEA and a frame, and the frame was separated and the canvas was rolled up. And it was downstairs in our basement, our terrace area. And I was putting together the frame. I was about to undo the canvas. And there, all of a sudden, I looked to my right. And there's something that I'd never really seen before. And it's this brown thing that's kind of crawling on the ground. And I look at it and I'm like, is this some kind of insect I've never seen? Like, it's this giant brown thing. And it was like like, what the? So I walk upstairs so I can go outside and walk around and see through the glass because I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at, right? And I'm looking in and I'm like, is that a fucking bat? And it was a bat. I had a brown bat inside of my house and it was crawling. And so I'm like Googling real quick and I'm like, brown bat crawling. And it was like, this probably means it's dehydrated or just came out of hibernation, right? And so Priya had just landed at the airport. Or no, she was in a plane. And I'm like, I know this bat has to get out of here before she gets back or she's going to lose her mind. And case in point, when she heard about the bat, her response was like, they tricked us into buying this house. Like her response was so irrational. You know what I mean? Like they planned this whole bat being here, you know, like maybe they moved because there was a bat in the house or something. Like such an irrational response. Like we got tricked into buying this property, right?
Yeah, like a bat infestation.
Yeah, it was hilarious. But so anyways, I'm like, all right, I need to get this bat out. But one thing I'm worried about is, you know, rabies and rabies awareness. Like rabies is a real thing. And if you get it and it's not detected in time, like you're basically dead. There's a point where you don't come back from rabies, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of worried about it, right? And so I was thinking, how am I going to get this bat out of this apartment? And so I found like this empty club soda container. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to scoot this thing up to the... What I was really worried about is this bat had one more flight left in him. You know what I mean? Like I was just, you know, the whole... And I've said this before, but the whole Ace Ventura Pet Detective thing, I don't want this thing flying in my face. And so I'm slowly scooting this like club soda carton closer and closer and closer and closer. And I go around to the side and look, and then I come back around and I'd scoot it closer and closer. And finally it stepped into the carton. And I was like, oh yeah. Not only did it step into the carton, it walked the distance. So I knew it was secure in there. It knew what time it was. It's time to get the hell out of my house. And so I grabbed this thing.
You just wanted to go to sleep.
So I grabbed this thing. I got, you know, put it outside and put like a plate of water. And then a couple days later, I went to go check on it and it was gone. And I was like, sweet. Maybe I saved the bat's life. Maybe got eaten by a snake. I don't know. But it is gone, you know? And, you know, I will say I was a little terrified because I just didn't want that thing to fly towards my face. Yep. And, you know, I got to say, there's something about being a male that goes super underappreciated in those moments. Those moments never make it to the Instagram memes. You know what I mean? Like, we just don't get appreciated in that. Who's else is going to take care of it? You know?
I'm surprised that you didn't kill it and you gave it an opportunity to get better or fly away or something.
Well, all right, I'm not going to pretend like I'm a good guy. I learned this information. I learned this information after the fact, but like killing a bat is apparently illegal. But
is it? Okay.
But I have gone that route before, by the way, but not with bats. So I'll give you guys one more story, and I think, you know, we'll be cutting it close to the end. But in San Diego, we had moved into this, not, you know, me and my fiance, but my company had moved into this building, and it was closer to the Navy Yard. And when we moved in, we didn't realize, but there were pigeons that had babies inside of our facility. And we did everything we could for like 2 or 3 weeks to get these pigeons out. Like we would like put a hose on them. We would blow it. You know, we would do everything to get these pigeons out, right? We couldn't open our roll-up doors because if we ever opened them, they would fly in. They would wait for us, and they had put babies there and everything. And so I did everything in my possibility to get these things out that I could think of, aside from ending one of their lives, right? And I was still planning to go the diplomatic route, although I felt like they were starting to just mess with us, and they would just wait. As soon as we opened the door, they would fly in, you know? They would just wait. We put like the accordion style gate to keep them out. They would figure out how to get in and go up. They just wanted to go in there. And look, I get it. It's a safe place to raise their offspring. I get it. But we had to run a business. Now, about this time, where I'm kind of running out of ideas, one of my employees had put a complaint into OSHA that there were fleas in my facility. And I don't know. I'm not really sure that they actually came from our facility, but I do know that we had pigeons up in there. And if they did come from our facility, it's the pigeons, right? So now I kind of had the ability and responsibility to take care of whatever I need to take care of. So I reached out to our corporate office, kind of explained the problem to them. And our VP kind of said to me, he's like, well, if you get a BB gun and shoot them,
No.
just don't do it when anybody's there, you know? And I was like, okay. So I went on Craigslist and I found like a $40 Daisy, I don't know, like Red Ryder or whatever kind of rifle, right? The same pump pistol you grew up, or pump BB gun that you grew up with, right? And I just got BBs. I didn't really do anything fancy to it. And one of these pigeons was in this room, right? This one time. And it was like this metal room and I had BBs and it's the weekend. And I'm trying to shoot this pigeon with this BB gun, walking around, and these BBs are bouncing back at me. And it's like this pigeon's flying all over the place. Like, it's a super traumatic scene. The sights are off on this BB gun. And I'm like, this is not the way to do this, right? So I went online, did some work, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a scope for this thing. And I did like 4 or 5 things to like make the trigger to where it's like a hair trigger. And I just tightened this gun up to be super efficient. And I'm like, now at least when I take down this pigeon, it's going to be a clean kill. Nobody's going to, he's not going to suffer. It's going to be over. So one Wednesday, I had to come back to the shop because I needed to print out our fair tickets for the San Diego Fair. And it's like 5:30, 6 p.m. And when I pulled in to the office, I saw the 2 pigeons on top of the shelter-like roof, right? And I was like, I'm going to get them. This is the time. And the sun's starting to come down, right? It's starting to get romantic, right? And so I go get my pistol. This is a good thing and a bad thing, but they are engaging a male and a female in relations, right? And I'm like, now's the time. And I fired. And I definitely hit it, right? But then when I looked down to the ground, it was kind of like waddling, like it couldn't fly, like I clipped its wings. And then I had to take the last shot. I had to put it out of its misery. And the sun was coming down. The sun was setting right behind it. And it was looking right at me like my life's over. And I ended it right there. And it was a super traumatic experience for me. And I went inside. I grabbed my tickets for the carnival or for the fair.
And then you went to the fair. Traumatic.
And then I went outside, right?
And then went out a great time.
Yeah, right. Didn't think again about the pigeon.
And then I went outside. And the pigeon
Sounds
was
very
gone.
traumatic, Chris.
The pigeon was gone. Like a hawk came and grabbed it. And I will tell you this. We never saw a pigeon around that facility ever again. There was never a pigeon that came like within any distance from that facility. It was like messenger pigeons. They told like, stay away from here. And so we tried to work things out the diplomatic way, and they just wouldn't accept the message. And somebody had to come through and handle the problem. OSHA was going to come to my door any minute. We had to do it, But I will tell you, what really gave me the green light?
What?
I was like, is it really normal to be like shooting pigeons? Right. So I went on YouTube, and like one of the first videos I saw was like one guy, it's like bright thumbnail. It's like, we killed 1,000 pigeons in the silo. And I'm like, okay, I can take this one out. You know what I mean? Like I saw this crazy video like that. And I was like, this is the thumbnail. And I was like, oh, I can take one out. He's got 1,000,
But that still kills me from a guy who raised pigeons as a kid.
Okay. I mean, no, this is a great point.
Yeah.
What would you have done? You have an employee complaining about fleas. You got OSHA breathing down your neck. Yeah. You got the green light. You got pigeons who are taunting you. What does Nick do to solve this problem?
So, I mean, you could have just caught them and then brought them someplace else.
I could have caught the pigeons.
You know how hard it is to catch a pigeon?
Yeah, I'm not a.
Yeah, Rocky that shit. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we did.
No,
I
you're
did.
getting this guy in a.
I did, well, I did call. By the way, I want to leave something else in there. I called
Yeah.
San Diego Animal Control, and they were like, "No, these are classified as pests. If you want these out, you'll have to take them out." They'd let me know that.
Yeah.
I tried to do it the right way, like every single way, and they just had to die, or one did.
Yeah, pigeons are just so in abundance. That's it. Street rats is what.
They had to get blasted.
Yeah.
But it went out doing what it loves to do, right?
No, exactly. So
Mating.
it was a good ending, in my opinion. But you know who I feel really bad for is that chick pigeon that was like watching that go down. She's just like, damn.
Real. That was traumatic. That shit was traumatized.
No, let's be honest. She went and found the next male pigeon down the street. Like
Those kids are single. Yeah.
Pigeon hugs.
So, anyways,
right.
I'm glad you guys encountered a couple of mice in your apartments. I've had to deal with real things, you know.
Hey, but I didn't. I mean, I had some weird animals, but that's because I had them as pets rather than.
Well, when I grew up, my aunt and uncle had rabbits, and they used to always run away. And then we never really put two and two together that we had rabbit that night. You know what I mean?
So,
They were constantly running away.